Hello, my dear student. Welcome back to Java session, week 13 Java session, session 2. In this session, we will discuss more about GUI, graphical user interface, and we will discuss about event, which is very important. So let me grab my notepad and let's discuss about events. Now in JavaScript, if you remember, in JavaScript you had learned about event like click event, right, mouse move event, and so on. Same in Java also, we have many such events. Every event will have some action have to be taken, right? Now to understand event, it is very important that you should know about interface. Okay, without interface it will be difficult for you to understand event and event handling. So I suggest you to go back and review interface before continuing with this video. Alright, let's talk about this with the help of one program. So I'll grab my IntelliJ. Let's make a new project here. Go to file, new project, and let's click next. So week 13 session number 2. Let's do that. Click finish. Open in this window. Okay, so that's my project ready over here. Now you can right click on src, make a new Java class, and give here event example. You can give any name, it's just a name of the class. Hit enter. Of course you need to write the entry point, public static void main. Okay, that's my entry point here. Now what we have to do is write down the constructor constructor. Okay, how to write constructor? We have to say event example. This is my constructor, right? Now what are you going to do in the constructor? In the constructor you have to create the object of JFrame. We have discussed in the previous class. JFrame jf1 is equal to new JFrame. Okay, and it is coming from which package? It is coming from java x.swing package. After this, okay, after this line you are going to create a button. So you have to use one class called JButton. You can see here it's C means class. It's a class from this package. So you have to use this and you have to create an object of this. So JB1 is equal to new JButton. I'm just creating, and you can say click me. Okay, after this what you have to do is you have to find out the location where you want to display the button. So you can use a function called setBounds, and here you can say my x position is 100 and my y position is 150. Of course you need to give the width of your button. So let's take width as 90, and you have to tell the height of your button, let's say 60. So that's the setBounds function. After this line you have to register your button for a listener. Okay, you need to register your button for a listener who will listen for the event. Who is listener? Answer: listener is a person, you can assume is a person who will listen for the event. Okay, he will keep listening for the event. So who is this listener? Now for button there is a listener called action listener, which is an interface. It's an interface, and I'm going to show you this interface right over here. Now this interface comes from java.awt event. Can you see this package here? So it comes from this package. Click on this and wait, let it get open here. Now this is java.awt event package. In this there are many interface, and there are many listener interface like action listener. Can you see that? Then we have, key listener, mouse motion listener, mouse wheel listener, text listener, window focus listener, window listener, and so on. We are going to learn most of them in this session and in the next session. But before we see the other example, let's take the simple example, which is action listener. It's an interface, don't forget. So click on this. It will open some more information about this interface, action listener. Now this interface it's an interface, so it will not have any constructor, right? Interface does not have constructor because we cannot create object of the listener of the interface. But yes, in interface you have an abstract method. Can you see this here? Abstract method. So there is one abstract method which is action performed, and this is the parameter over here. What is the return type of this function? Void. So my dear student, let me write down something for you. So there is an interface. Okay, what is something like this? Interface. What is the name of the interface? Action listener. This is interface. Now in this interface we have one function. What is the name of the function? Action performed. Okay, and it takes one parameter which is action event e. Put semicolon. It's an abstract method, right? I have already discussed about what is interface. Interface is a pure abstract class which has abstract function, and this is the abstract function. Now any class, let's say I have a class demo and it implements action listener. Then what is the rule? The rule is this class must give body to this function. Yes or no? Yes. So you can say here public void, okay, action performed action event e, open and close bracket. Look at this. So this function is coming from where? It is coming from the interface. What is the name of the interface? Action listener, okay, which has one abstract method, and this is using this interface. So this guy or this class must give body to this function, and this is what I am doing, right? And this is also an example of override, or you can say it's a dynamic polymorphism, because we are reusing the function. We are reusing the function, right? It's a dynamic polymorphism. Great. So I hope you have understood this much part. Let's continue with the next programming. Okay, so the next we are going to write the code here. I hope this is clear with you, right? So I'm coming to my code now. So what I have to do, I have to say that my class implements action listener. Now look at this. It's an I means it's an interface. Now this interface is coming from which package? It is coming from java.awt.event package. Use it. When you do this, it will give you error. Why? Because this interface has one function, one abstract method. So this class must give body to this function. And when you take your mouse cursor here, it will give you like implement method. You just have to click on this. Okay, then it will tell you, do you want to implement action perform method? Say yes, I want. Okay, and you can see this function is coming here, but I will put it before my main function over here. Okay, this is what I want. So this function, action performed function, is coming from this interface. Yes or no? Yes, it is coming from here. And action listener, what is action listener? He's a listener. This is what we discussed. Okay, who is a listener? Listener is a person who will listen for the event, like action listener. And what is that? It's an interface. Okay, and it is coming from which package? java.awt.event package. Am I clear with this part? I hope so. Let's continue then. The next step you have to do is you need to register your button for the listener. Register your button to listener. How to register? You have to say jb1 dot. There is a function called add action listener. Can you see this function? You have to use this. Now here you have to pass the object of the class which implements action listener. So right now my current class implements the action listener. Current class means this. This means the current class object. So you have to pass this in this. Okay, that's all over here. Now you have to add your component, add the button to the frame. Done. Then you have to set the layout. So set layout. Right now we will just keep null. I will teach you later what is layout. Then next, jf1 dot get content pane dot set background color. Then you can choose the color. What color do you want? Right, this time I'm going to say red. Okay, so color dot red. What next? Next you have to say jf1 dot set size. You need to set the size of your JFrame. So for size I'm going to say 800 by 800. Okay, and finally the last thing which you have to say is set visible. You can see this function. You need to make your JFrame, which is here, visible. Okay, so this is what code you have to write. Let's run this. So far I should see my frame. What is wrong? Yeah, I'm not making the I'm not creating the object of this class, so this constructor is not getting called. So I will create the object over here. E is equal to new event example, put semicolon. Let's run this now and let's have a look at the output of this program. Yes, so I have my little button and nothing is happening when I click on this button. Okay, we need to write some more codes over here. Now what code you have to write? You have registered your button. Okay, this is my button object. I have registered my button object with the listener, action listener. Okay, now whenever you click this button, this guy will listen and he will transfer to this function here. Now you need to write some code here. As I told you, there is a class called object. Object is the superclass. I will show you again. You can see here, object is the superclass of all these child classes. JFrame is a child class of frame, remember that, and JButton is a child class of JComponent, which is again child class of object. So here I am going to use my class object and I will say source. Okay, source is equal to, I will use this variable now, e over here, e dot get source. Get source means which button has been clicked. So this will give me the button object. What is my button object? This is my button object. So this line will give me the object of the button which is clicked, which will be stored in this variable. Now you have to check if my source is equal to JB1. That means if my source is this button, then what do you want to do? You need to write the code here. You can create another frame. So I will use my JFrame again. This time I will say JF2 is equal to new JFrame. Okay, and you will say that login frame. Okay, what next we have to do? We have to set some setting. So JF2 dot set layout, let's say null. Then we have to say JF2 dot set size. Let's take 500 comma 500. This is the size of my second frame. Okay, then we have to set the color. So JF2 dot get content pane dot set background, and then you have to say the color. Which color do you want to use? You can choose the color over here. Finally, the last thing you have to do is JF2 dot set visible to true. Okay, that's all, my dear student. This is the code which you have to write. If you have any question from this or this, you can ask me about it. Basically, what is happening, I'm saying my class uses this listener interface and I register my button with this listener interface, action listener. Okay, I register it. So whenever you will click this button, it will automatically go to this function and then it will retrieve which button has been clicked. It will put into this variable. Then I will check if my source is this object. Then what do you want to do? You can do that. You can write your logic here. Understood? So let's run this program to check out the output of this code. So right click, run. There is some wrong. Yes. Now it is very important we are getting this error. Look at this variable JB1. It's a variable of JButton. Yes or no? Yes. It's a class and it's a variable of this button. But the scope, I can use this variable only inside this constructor. Okay, I cannot use this variable outside of this constructor. Why? Because it is local. Now if I want to use this variable in this function here I'm using, I need to make this variable global variable. So you can copy this and you can make it global over here, put semicolon and remove this J button from here. Understood? Now this becomes global. That means I can use this variable in my another function also. Now you run your program and you will not see any error and your program runs fine. Right? Now if I click my button, what will happen? It will go here and it will do this one. It will make a new frame and it will make it visible with orange color. So let's click on this. Look at that. So that's my another frame which is getting displayed. Right? That's all, my dear student. This is the simplest example of action listener. I want you to do practice of this and this week I think this much is enough for you. I want you to do this program, okay, this, and make yourself very much comfortable about this program, because next week I'm going to take more difficult, programs. And if you can do this program, then I'm sure you can do the other programs also. So do a lot of practice about it. You have 1 week time. Okay. And at the same time, I suggest you to do some revision. What revision you will do? Let me write down that. One, you will take the revision of inheritance. Okay. Second, you will take the revision of constructor. Third, you will take the revision of uh, interface. Interface. You will take the revision of abstract class. You will take the revision of static polymorphism. Sixth, you will take the revision of a dynamic polymorphism. Dynamic polymorphism. Okay, so these are the topics which you have to revise and review. So do the review of this topic and do this program which I have shown you over here. And if you have any question, please clear it out, because next week we are going to do some more interesting programs using database connection. Okay, that's all for this. Goodbye.